Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demands I remember her password for her. After that, am I the jerk for being upset with my $150 engagement ring? And after that, if you don't clean the kitty litter every day, I will move and you will have to as well. I make the choice. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to clean the kitty litter. Like heck I will! So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demands I remember her password for her. My parents own a small business. We are a pack and ship store that also sells stuff for some local artists. We also do some other services such as faxing, fingerprinting, printing/copying, shredding, and notaries. My siblings, some friends, and I work at the store. I was at work about 2 weeks ago, and we were very busy during lunchtime, which is pretty normal for us. My brother, mom, and I were all there, and both my brother and my mom were handling their own things, and I was disinfecting the counter. This lady with the classic Karen haircut walks in. She looked like Dolores Umbridge if Umbridge had a Karen haircut. I finished disinfecting, put the rag back into the bucket of disinfectant, then walked to the register to help her. She was pleasant at first. She told me she needed to print and sign 2 large documents, then scan them in and email them to the company they were for and herself. Normal stuff for our business. So she emailed the documents to us. Sometimes Verizon phones struggle to connect to data within our store, and our network is secure because of safety and privacy for our customers. She had a Verizon phone and was instantly frustrated with how long it took for it to send. Around this time, her daughter came in, apparently in a rush. Her daughter barely spoke while she was here, but Karen had mentioned something along the lines of needing to go to work soon. I'll call her daughter CS, college student. She seemed much nicer than her mother. So I finally got the emailed documents. They were PDF files that required a password. So I disinfected the keyboard and gave it to Karen to log into the PDFs so we could print them. She typed her password in and hit enter. Wrong password. So she typed it in again. Wrong password. I lost count of how many times she tried to type in the same password and kept getting the wrong password. By now, all other customers in the store have come and gone. Another batch has come and gone. Finally, I sheepishly asked if there was a different one she could have used. That's when she started to get nasty. I know my password. It's the name of my daughter. I exchanged a look with my brother, then quietly said, Okay, ma'am, try different combinations then. She tried the password a few more times while I just waited awkwardly. Her daughter was wandering around the store, looking at the things we have for sale. I was watching her as I waited. Then Karen cleared her throat, so I looked at her. Why are you just standing there like an idiot? Her daughter glared at her from across the store. I was a bit dumbfounded and frankly exhausted, so it took me a moment to actually register what she said. I just quietly apologized and stared at the counter. She kept grumbling about how I'm so unhelpful and I should be helping more. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I suggested again to try a different combination. She did that snarly sigh thing that grouchy teenagers such as myself do. She typed in something else, and suddenly we had access to the documents. She grumbled something along the lines of, Finally, then called her daughter over. I tried to print it and it came up with an error code, so I called my mom over and she helped me riddle it out. But then it printed absolutely tiny. So my mom and I spent a few minutes finagling with the settings. That's when I noticed that it was set to the receipt printer size. So I set it to letter size and printed it again. Perfection. Karen's face lit up and she said, You're so smart. Thank you. Oh, the irony. The rest of the job was pretty routine. I told my brother what happened afterwards and he gave me a hug. 3 minutes later, I hear my mom's voice raise. She said, What? But that was the last we were expecting to hear from that lady, so there wasn't anything we could do. Work went back on like normal. But wait, there's more. We got a call about 40 minutes after her daughter and Karen had left. My mom picked it up because my brother and I were handling customers. It was Karen's husband. He said they never got the email and that Karen wanted to send it to his email as well now. So we sent the documents to them again and all was fine. Then the husband stopped before he hung up and asked, Did my wife cause any troubles while she was there? She keeps saying the customer service there was awful, and I don't believe her. Not his exact words, but roughly what he had said according to my mom. My mom told him what had happened. He thanked her and hung up. I'd like to believe that Karen got chewed out, but who knows. Edit. I'm at work again today, and her daughter came into the store. Recognized her by her last name before the face, but it was definitely her, and she quietly apologized for her mother. It's weird that as soon as I decide to post this here, I see her again. Life is wild. What do you think the best password would be for a Karen? Please let us know. I normally just use manager123. Am I the jerk for being upset with my $150 engagement ring? My fiance is quite well off, and while I don't make as much as him, I certainly would not be struggling on my own. He rotates between a few very expensive watches that he wears to work, and while we have a good grasp on financial literacy, we aren't shy about spending for the important parts of life. We openly share finances, so I know he isn't secretly in debt or any such nonsense. The ring is nice and understated, but more of a nice stacker than an engagement ring to show off. The stone, which I'm doubtful of being a diamond, is quite small. It is not heirloom. When friends or family get engaged, there's always the excitement in sharing the news, and inevitably someone will ask to see the ring, and then everyone coos over it, and it's a good time. When I showed mine, the mood got awkward, and they feigned excitement just long enough until it was okay to change the topic. This is not a knock on them, they are just terrible liars. I would like to make clear that I am not expecting a 3-month salary ring or an over-the-top wedding. However, this is a piece I will be wearing daily for decades and is largely considered a symbol of his love. I know not all feel this way, but we do, or at least I thought we did. But I really don't think I'm out of line for thinking of it as a long-term investment piece, given the amount of wear it will see and the sentimentality behind it. Surely it is worth more than a gaming console. Am I the jerk here? Edit. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so I thought I would put the answers here. We had briefly talked about overall style, and he has access to my jewelry box to know the stuff I typically wear. As the price of the ring wasn't very important to me, the budget for it was never really discussed, which I see as a mistake now, but I didn't realize that this could be a problem. Price is not important so much as I don't care if he spent $1,000 or $100,000 on it. But this ring looks cheap. It is not quality craftsmanship. The dampened excitement of showing off my ring was only a part of my post. The rest being that his drastic lowball on a piece I will be wearing every day for the rest of my life doesn't seem like the symbol of love one traditionally associates with engagement and wedding pieces. It's about having a very wealthy fiance that invests more into the latest gaming console than he does in a lifelong symbol of our love. To you, a ring might be just a ring, but unless otherwise discussed, it would be silly to assume it to be a throwaway item. In my culture as well, the engagement ring is paired with the wedding band, not replaced. We share our finances, and I saw the charge on the bank statement. If he paid in cash as well, then he overpaid. Given that he has bought me more expensive jewelry in the past and sees what I wear on a regular basis, for him to lowball an important item this much seems pretty far out of left field and not something I would have thought I would have needed to clarify with him even if we had a longer conversation about it. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have. I think I'm more hurt with what it says to give your fiancé such a low-priced ring when money clearly isn't the issue than the fact that the ring itself was low budget. If we were worse off and $150 took effort to save for, I would be over the moon at what he got me and shoving it in everyone's face. However, this is not remotely the case. He has gifted diamond studs and other fine jewelry before and will splurge a bit more if it's something for the both of us. For example, a surprise getaway weekend for a holiday. He doesn't throw his money around needlessly, but he isn't stingy. To be blunt, it's a cheap ring, in look and cost. I also take exception to the people here acting like being unhappy with the ring means I'm unhappy with the engagement. Nowhere have I ever said this to be the case. Life isn't an all or nothing game. I can be unhappy with the ring while still being madly in love with my fiance and thrilled to spend our lives together. We will be talking about this for sure, but I know this can be a touchy subject and wanted an objective eye on it first. I will update this post after that conversation. Update. He came home and we were settling down, and around dinner I started the conversation with, "Honey, I'd like to talk about the ring." And before I could finish, he just blew up. Started yelling, "Finally!" and how I had ruined everything by waiting so long. To be brief, he bought a crappy ring from a jeweler who got bad reviews so that when I got upset over it, he could just dump me under the guise that I was a gold digger. He had apparently been having an affair with a younger model that he's earned, but knew that breaking things off when everyone loved me so much would hurt his optics, so he had to make it my fault. He knew that leaving this pariahship would gain him sympathy, and there was a lot of rhetoric that clearly wasn't his own words, but something he was parroting from what I highly suspect is a much too influential work friend that I've had disagreements with in the past. Changes I had attributed to work stress are glaringly obvious to me now as symptoms of something more malicious under the surface, and I feel really ashamed I didn't see things more clearly earlier or wasn't somehow able to head things off before they got this far. I won't be sticking around to dig any deeper, but I know my now ex-fiancé would not have done and said the things he did without being pushed from bad influences behind the scenes. This doesn't mean I forgive him. I think he is incredibly weak and feeble-minded for letting this happen to us, but I also doubt I will be contacting many of our mutual friends as the dust settles. I left in the middle of his tirade around the 15-minute mark and am staying at my mother's. I haven't cried yet, and I think I'm still waiting for it all to suddenly make sense, but I know logically it might not ever. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post and offered your thoughts. I don't think anyone could have predicted what was going to happen from the information I gave, and now I'm off until the waterworks decide to flow and I can have a good cry over it all. On the plus side, if there is one, is that I don't have to wear the stupid hideous ring anymore. What would you do if you were in this situation? Would you talk to them about the ring or just leave it as is? Please let us know.
Kevin had to take out a second mortgage to pay for my wedding ring. I deserved it.
If you don't clean the kitty litter every day, I will move and you will have to as well. I make the choice. So I just moved apartments because my previous landlady slash roommate slash leaser was absolutely crazy and broke a ton of laws. I would have escalated this situation and most likely gotten my landlady, who was over 40 years old, in trouble. But I'm pretty young, 21, so I decided to go the malicious compliance route. Where to begin? From the moment I moved into the apartment, things were going awry. The landlady hadn't moved her stuff out of my unit yet, so I had to help her do that before moving my stuff in. Of course, she didn't help me move my stuff in, just wanted help moving her stuff. Now, I'm a pretty laid-back person, arguably to the point of me being a borderline doormat, so whatever, cool. I'll help you move your stuff. Then after helping her, she decided to then tell me, after I've moved in and after the lease is signed, that my cat might not be able to stay because of her daughter's alleged allergy that she apparently didn't know about when she agreed to allow my cat in the unit. The landlady had 3 very aggressive and loud chihuahuas, as well as constantly babysitting her 9-month-old grandson who stomped and screamed the entirety of his visits. Once again, it's your girl, the doormat, and I just kind of ignored the annoyance I had towards the loud dogs and kid because I'm renting, so like, what did I expect? I notified her that if the cat hair became a problem, then I would temporarily house him until I could find a pet-friendly new place. Landlady agreed that this was the best route. Upon later conversations with her daughter, the allergy was super low grade and her daughter routinely pet and loved my cat without issue when she came down to do laundry, so I don't know why her mother made a huge deal of it. So now that I've painted a picture of my move-in, let me just add that I had 3 deal breakers. 1. Unit had to be pet friendly. 2. Unit had to have separate entrance. And 3. If shared laundry, the washer and dryer were to be separated from my unit. It's totally my fault for choosing this place as the entrance was shared and my unit had no lock and I couldn't install one. The washer and dryer was in my unit, which meant if the landlady or her daughter wanted to do laundry, they would have to walk through my entire apartment. And now, with the daughter's new allergy, things were looking grim. But whatever, I chose this as a favor to my landlady because she couldn't find anyone else. Big red flag retrospectively. And I worked with her, so I figured it would be okay since we could carpool. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Shortly after my turbulent move-in day, things were tense as my landlady lost her father the previous year, and this was her first holiday season without him. I suppose that during my holiday to my parents, my landlady entered my unit without permission. She wrote a laundry schedule, so I knew she was supposed to be down there. This was not one of those times, and took a disliking to my cat's litter box. Now, I have one adult male tabby cat that maybe uses the litter box once a day, so I would clean the litter box 2 to 3 times a week, which had never been an issue before. Upon my return home, my landlady screamed at me in her car about my lack of hygiene for my animal and accused me of neglecting him while also claiming her son said he smelled a dirty litter in her unit when he was over for Christmas. She demanded that I clean the litter box every day / every other day, which I was basically doing already as it was cleaned every 2 to 3 days, or she would move and thus terminate her lease and furthermore result in mine being terminated because I was leasing from her. Okay, cool. I totally thought she was out of line, but I'm a broke college student, so moving again after only being there for a few months was not ideal. Whatever. I apologized for the issue and any smell they smelled and let her know that I would handle it. My boyfriend was in charge of that chore, so he abides by her demands just to keep the peace, as well as taking it further by adding deodorizers to the litter. Some more backstory is that both her and her daughters are cigarette smokers and would smoke in the house and right by the entrance. All of my guests have verified that they do not smell any litter even if they are standing right next to the box. The only thing they could smell was cigarette smoke. This was after I would slyly prompt them by saying, "I think I smell cat litter. Do you? I think I may be desensitized." A month later, she sends a text stating that the litter is still an issue and that if it happens again, she is going to evict us as we are endangering the health of her grandson. At this point, she had began terrorizing me at work and at home due to this issue. She was my HR rep, so I was kind of crap out of luck when it came to work because she would be the one that could handle any kind of situation. She's terrible at her job mostly because she's crazy and can't understand that her personal feelings have no place in the professional sphere. At this point, I'm like, forget it. I give up. I've jumped through fiery hoops for this lady, and she still isn't happy. So we respond to her eviction threat with our 60-day notice of termination of our lease. The landlady did not take it well at all, and the atmosphere became more tense because now she had to move as well, as she couldn't afford this place on her own and could not get any other roommate, hence me moving in. During this period, before I moved to my new unit, she repeatedly entered my unit to do laundry, despite it not being her day on the schedule, she wrote, and after I gave explicit notification that she is to wait until I get home to enter my unit to do laundry, I never said no. Just not while I'm not home, because my cat can get skittish if I'm not there and strangers enter his space. She ignored my request, citing that it didn't work for her, and would enter my unit. She would also enter my unit early in the morning after I had left for work, and would enter my unit to do laundry when I was sleeping. Anyways, me leaving the lease early really messed her up because she wasn't prepared to move. She was making baseless threats, and I called her bluff. She couldn't find a new roommate, she couldn't afford the place on her own, and she was struggling to find a place to live because she's crazy and had super weird stipulations like there cannot be a speck of green in her unit and stuff like that. She wanted her niece to move in, but that would require kicking us out a night before we could move into our new place, which she tried to do, but I informed her of the law and said it wasn't happening unless we got a refund for the nights we left early. Ultimately, my parents are amazing and were able to loan me some extra cash so I could move into my new place sooner than the first of the month, so I did that. My landlady's niece had already found other accommodations, so she got done over there because she was going to have to front rent entirely on her own now since she didn't want to refund us for the nights we would have had to forfeit for her niece. Her terribly mannered dogs had done plenty of damage to the unit before we moved in that the owner of the property charged her $400 for, which she promptly tried to blame on us, even though it was her dogs who chewed the baseboards and her own negligence that resulted in her dogs peeing and saturating a wooden door. I switched companies due to her harassment, and as of late, my replacement is messing up the job so badly that the company can't even function day-to-day operations. My replacement was my landlady/HR rep's best friend, so it looks terrible on her. They had to hire an additional person to cover the work that I was doing. I, on the other hand, got a new job in the field in which I'm studying. A bonus was that this new job had better hours, double the pay, less work, and was full-time with benefits, none of which I was getting from my previous employer. My new unit is amazing, and my new landlords are so incredible. My unit is separated from the laundry and pet-friendly, and it has a separate entrance. I'm allowed to burn incense and candles again, which is super nice. Have you ever had a roommate that you just couldn't stand? Please let us know. Am I the jerk for stating publicly that my parents have nothing to do with my talents or hobbies? This started innocently enough a few days ago. With what's going on and working from home, I've been looking for some relaxing things I can do away from my computer/Nintendo. I landed first on cooking and baking, a thing I've always liked, but with more free time I can try new and more challenging recipes. I also took up embroidery instead of video games while I watch TV at night. This is basically a new development in my life as I've never done needlework outside of a brief period when I was 11. I'm over 30 now. A few days ago, I put a photo on Facebook of a meal I'd made for the first time. An oven version of fried fish, roast corn, and some other vegetables. I'd also made a pie for dessert. A few of my parents' friends are Facebook friends of mine, as well as a couple of my cousins and my mom. A lot of them liked the post and commented saying it looked delicious and so on. Over the next couple days, I posted a few more pictures of meals I was proud of, with similar comments. My mom's best friend commented to say I was turning into quite the chef, and so on. Last night, I posted a picture of an embroidery project I just finished. It's nothing special, but it's the first thing I finished in terms of needlework in 20 years. One of my cousins pretty quickly commented to say that between this and the food I had been posting, it was clear that Aunt Sarah, my mom, had spent a lot of time passing down her skills to me. To be honest, that couldn't be further from the truth. When I was a kid, getting interested in these things, my mom had no patience for the fact that I made mistakes. She would make token attempts to teach me cooking or sewing, but if I messed up, she'd lecture me on how I was useless and would never survive without her. Often, she'd take whatever I made and throw it in the garbage because it wasn't perfect, then tell me to do it again. Of course, I stopped trying. When I moved to college and got an apartment, I also bought a basic cookbook. Everything I know how to do in the kitchen now comes from trial and error over the course of over 10 years. My needlework is also self-taught, as my mom only ever taught me one basic stitch as a kid. My reply to my cousin was pretty simple. My mom didn't actually teach me much of this stuff. I'm mostly self-taught. Of course, my mom and her friends saw the comment, and now my dad has called me to chew me out because she's crying over the fact I didn't give her credit for things she didn't do. Am I the jerk? Was it okay for OP to post that comment, or should they not have? Please let us know.
I dare my kid to post a comment like that?
Karen and entitled daughter scream at me, a human on crutches, for sitting in the priority seats on the bus. So, a bit of background. I have a genetic condition that causes me issues with my joints. My joints will randomly dislocate without reason, and it's very painful. My worst joint by far is my right knee. When my knee is really bad and I use crutches, I also can't drive when it's really bad because, well, it hurts really bad, and I don't think it's a good idea to drive on strong painkillers. On this particular day, my knee had come out 4 times before I had even left the house for work. So I got ready, grabbed my crutches, and headed for the bus stop to get to work. Now onto the cast. We've got me, we've got entitled mom, and we've got entitled mom's daughter. So I managed to get to the bus stop, and while there I texted my boss that I was going to be 15 minutes late as I had to get the bus. But I would be in and I would make the time up at lunch. The bus to work is uneventful and pretty empty as I got on the bus at the start of the line. Work was also uneventful, the usual. My ex-boss having a go at me for my knees coming out. Anyway, the day ends. I'm in a huge amount of pain. I've had a few more issues with my knee and I just want to go home. So I walked the 10 minutes or so to the bus stop. On the way back from work, the bus was always rammed. It's after the bus has been through the city, but too close to the city for people to get off. So when I get on the bus, there is no free seats. Someone kindly offers me their seats as I'm on crutches, and well, it would be stupid and dangerous to be stood up on the bus using crutches. I put my headphones in and start to think about what I want to eat when I get home. And that's when it happens. The entitled mom appears from nowhere. She taps me on the shoulder, and the following happens. Entitled mom.
Excuse me, young lady. Those are the priority seats. Can you please get up and let me sit down?
Me. Sorry, I can't do that. I point at my crutches as I'm not sure how she missed them. Entitled mom.
Well, you are younger than me. I doubt you need them anyway. Get up now and give me your seat.
Me. Look, I'm not giving you my medical history, but I can assure you that I'm not on these for fun. I cannot stand up on the bus. I am entitled to be here. Entitled mom's daughter.
Stop being so rude. Get up and stop being lazy, you attention-seeking jerk.
At this point, I'm mad. Me. Look, I'm not moving. For you or anyone else. I can see 3 other people all set on the seats, so go get them to move. At this point, someone gets up and gives the old lady her seat. Too little, too late, but whatever. Entitled mom.
No, I don't want your seat. You are older than this lazy jerk who is refusing to move for me. You sit down.
The lady insists, and the woman eventually sits down. Entitled mom's daughter.
See, it's not that hard to respect the elders.
I put my headphones back in and enjoy the rest of my journey home. Lucky they got off at the very end of the route, the stop after mine. So when I get up, I fall and stomp on the woman's foot with my crutch. I hope you enjoyed this. I have a lot more. Old people like to forget that the seats are there for those who are less able to stand, not just the elderly. Am I the jerk for not loaning my sister money for vacation? Okay, so this happened last night, and I'm posting because I am truly baffled by the entire experience. I, 21 female, am dating Howie, 22 male, who comes from a very wealthy family, while I come from a poor family. Since I've started dating Howie, I've been blessed with the opportunity to move out, continue schooling, and learn how to manage my finances with the help of Howie and his family. Because of this, I'm more comfortable financially than my sister, Jill, who's 23, which has led me to being able to help her in the past anytime she needs financial assistance. In March, Jill planned and paid for a vacation for spring break, but because of what's going on now, it's caused her to have to reschedule to leave this Friday. Jill has also been receiving $750 a week for unemployment since April. The problem arose when she didn't get her unemployment this week due to some issue with the system, which meant she couldn't go on her trip because she didn't have any money. She also couldn't get any refunds for her flights or hotel, so she was looking at losing $1,000 if she didn't go, which I sympathize with. So last night, Jill messaged Howie on Facebook and basically said, "I need you to loan me $750 for my vacation, and I will pay you back when my unemployment comes in. Also, don't get mad at OP because she doesn't know I'm asking you." When Howie told me this, I was speechless. I never expected her to ever ask him for that kind of money, let alone go behind my back to do it. While Howie may come from a rich family, he does not have unlimited resources and has a strict budget he has to follow every month. Jill is also notorious for not paying people back, especially her family. Not to mention, Jill has never once tried to establish a bond of any form with Howie in the 2 years that we've been together. With this being the first time Jill has ever tried to communicate with Howie, it made him feel like she only cared about him for his money and not him as a person. I decided to handle the situation so Howie wouldn't have to. I thought it was best to wait until this morning to respond to her. I sent her a text basically saying that, "While I sympathize with your situation, it was wrong for you to go behind my back to ask my boyfriend for that kind of money for a vacation. I am hurt that you didn't even try to talk to me about it because you know I would do anything to help you, even if that means splitting my last $400 between us so that you can have money to go on your trip." She responded by saying, "If I can't come to you guys, then you shouldn't tell me that you would help me if I ever needed it. Don't worry, I'll never ask you guys for anything again." Now, we've told her in the past that we would help her if she ever needed it, but we meant for emergencies, not like, "Hey, I blew through $1,500 this month, and now I'm broke, so I can't go on my vacation unless you help me." Apparently, that is not how she sees it. So, am I the jerk for this? What do you think? Should Howie go ahead and give her that $750 or not? Please let us know.
Of course he should. She needs to go on her vacation.
Am I the jerk for not giving back my dog? Over a year ago, I adopted an older dog who was 8 years old from a local rescue center. At the time, I was told that he had been adopted as a 2-year-old, then returned by the family at 7 years old to the center, as included in the contract you sign when you adopt through the center. After being returned to the center, he had been taken to a few homes, but returned within a couple weeks each time. He had been at the center for around a year. Since I adopted him, he has regrown all of his missing fur and no longer has bald spots from scratching so much from his untreated chronic allergies. He is being treated now with a daily pill for the allergies, $60 a month, and joint supplements for his stiff bones. He has also become best friends with my other dog and is wonderful with the foster dogs and puppies that come through my door and go on to their forever homes. I have recently been contacted by the center I adopted him from. A member of the family he was originally with has come forward and wants him back. They gave him up over 2 years ago. I don't know why they decided to take him back to the shelter. I don't know what changed then or now. Am I the jerk for not wanting to give him back to this person? He's my sweet old man. I would miss him terribly. Edit. A couple people asked why the center even contacted me. As a foster dog parent, I post pictures of my fosters on Facebook. The old owner saw one and contacted the center with concerns. They said that they wanted him back and that he shouldn't be with me because I was obviously unfit to have a dog with this temperament and foster. The center contacted me to make sure he wasn't giving me problems. When I asked why they called me, they told me what the caller had said. The only temperament problems this dog has is that he has to be drugged and muzzled at the vet, which I have no problem blaming on previous owners. He is happy to let me muzzle him and is great anywhere and with anyone else. Old man is staying with me until he goes to the Rainbow Bridge. This just got in my head, and especially after the post I mentioned at the beginning of the ask. Speaking of dogs, do any of you have a dog? And if so, what kind? Please let us know.
Teacup chihuahuas for the win.
Am I the jerk for not wanting my vacation to be a family reunion? Background. Me, 26, and my boyfriend, 27, have been together for almost 5 years. Our last 2 anniversaries, in March, we flew to Florida to stay at my Nana's snowbird condo. She stays there January through April of every year. It's perfect because we only pay flights and activities without paying to stay there. And I adore my Nana, as does my boyfriend, so it's been a great way to spend a week with her. This past trip, my sister and her boyfriend, both 24, invited themselves even though I didn't tell them the exact dates we'd be there. Then my parents booked flights and all of them came the same dates we were, even though it was my mom's third trip in as many months. At first, I thought it would be fine, as I told my mom explicitly that this was my vacation and not a family one, and we'd spend some time together, but the point was mine and my boyfriend's plans are ours alone. She claimed she was okay with it, but we spent half the trip arguing over daily plans and how we weren't spending enough time together as a family. Plus, how late we stay up/sleep, how we need to get outside more, why are we doing this instead of that, etc. My boyfriend and I agreed that next year we would just go ourselves, since the first year when it was just us, plus Nana of course, was absolutely perfect. My mom has already been mentioning how that trip can become a yearly reunion for all of us, since my boyfriend and I now live across the country from them. I haven't outright told her no yet. We've been fighting about an upcoming trip in 2 weeks, so didn't see the need to fight about one in 8 months also, and I've just been changing the subject when it comes up. I fully intend to have that discussion once this other argumentative trip is over. But am I the jerk for not wanting my annual anniversary trip to become the new family reunion? And just wanting it to be about my boyfriend and I spending a week together with my dear Nana? Edit to add. The trip wouldn't be until March of 2021, if it is deemed safe at that time. Edit 2. Just to be clear, my parents visited me across the country for nearly a week, almost every month for 7 months, so we definitely get enough family time. Also, the only reason I act like I have veto power on if they can come to Nana's condo is because my mom has been asking me if it's okay if she makes it a reunion every year for us all. Thank you for all your comments/ideas/etc. I'll post an update with how the conversation goes. If you enjoyed this video, we've got another one you are going to love. It just popped up on the screen, so come watch it and we'll see you when you get there.
And join as a channel member today, and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And to have us make a special video for you or a loved one, come visit us on Fiverr. Link pinned in the comments below.